my friends, as Joel S. Goldsmith would often address you seekers, you walk through this world carrying a quiet, persistent whisper, a feeling that you were meant for something more, that you were set apart. You feel a weight, a solitude, even in a crowd. You have been told you are too sensitive, too intense, that you feel things too deeply. But what if that ache is not a wound? What if that sensitivity is not a weakness? What if it is the unmistakable signature of the chosen oneness? Not chosen for glory, not for fame, but chosen for a sacred responsibility, chosen to hold a higher frequency in a world of noise, chosen to see the light in the deepening dark. And there is a day, a specific divine appointment on the horizon, a moment of profound alignment, November 6th. This is not a date on a calendar, it is a doorway. And so I ask you, seeker, are you ready to discover what awaits you on the other side? If this truth resonates with the spirit within you, if you feel the pull of that doorway, then let this be your first act of alignment. Please listen. Like this video, comment the number *111 airs below as your symbol of readiness, and subscribe to walk this path together. Your awakening awaits. That feeling of being set apart, the quiet whisper you carry, this is not your imagination, my friends. It is the very foundation of your journey. This sense of separation, this whisper, is not a curse to be endured, but the first and most crucial clue to your true identity. The world will try to convince you that this feeling is a problem to be solved. It will label it loneliness or alienation, offering you distractions and remedies to make you fit in, to make you numb, to make you forget the persistent call of your own spirit. But I am here to tell you that to silence this whisper is to silence God Himself. This whisper of separation is the echo of a memory of a wholeness so profound that every experience in this fractured world feels like a reminder of its absence. You feel different because you are different. Your soul remembers its origin, a plane of pure consciousness where separation was an illusion and love was the only language. Here, in this earthly school, you are immersed in the curriculum of duality, light and dark, joy and sorrow, connection and isolation. And you, the chosen one, feel the sharp edges of this duality more acutely than others. You are the sensitive instrument in the orchestra, the one that can detect the most subtle dissonance. While others march to the rhythm of the world, you are listening for a different melody, a harmony from a higher octave. This is why you often feel so deeply misunderstood. You speak of longing for a home you cannot describe to people who believe they are already home. You try to articulate a spiritual thirst to those who are content with mud. This creates a sacred loneliness, a solitude that is not empty, but pregnant with potential. It is in this very space, in this quiet ache of feeling separate, that the divine work begins. It is the cocoon stage where the caterpillar feels itself dissolving, no longer what it was, but not yet what it is destined to become. It feels like death, but it is the precursor to flight. Do not run from this whisper. Do not fill the silence with noise, for it is in the respectful acknowledgement of this separation that you build the capacity for true union. This is the great paradox. By fully embracing the feeling of being set apart, you begin to dissolve the very illusion of separation. You start to see that the you that feels separate is merely the instrument, and the music it yearns for is the presence of the musician. The whisper is not the problem, it is the invitation. It is your soul's most faithful prayer, reminding you of your divine assignment, calling you to remember that you are a citizen of heaven, merely visiting earth. This sacred discontent is the engine of your evolution, the gentle, relentless pressure that will not allow you to settle for a life of spiritual slumber. It is the proof that you are awake and that you are being prepared. And so we come to understand that this ache, this divine discontent, is not a flaw in our being. It is, in fact, the most authentic signature of the soul who remembers its origin. Just as a master artist signs their name in the corner of a masterpiece, the divine has signed your spirit with this specific, poignant sensitivity. It is the mark of your calling, the unique frequency to which your soul is attuned. The world misinterprets this signature constantly. It calls it depression, anxiety, or a failure to adapt. It pathologizes the very thing that makes you holy. But you must learn to read it correctly. This ache is not a symptom of brokenness. It is the evidence of a different kind of wholeness, a wholeness that is not of this world, pressing up against the limitations of your human experience. This ache is the spiritual equivalent of gravity. It is a constant, unseen force that pulls you ever inward, ever downward, toward the core of your own being. It is a homesickness, yes, but for a home you carry within you. It is the soul's longing to know itself as soul, to experience its own divine nature directly without the filter of the personality or the distractions of the world. When you feel that hollow yearning in your chest, that sudden sadness on a beautiful day, that sense of being an observer behind your own eyes, you are not falling apart. You are being summoned. You are being called to a deeper level of authenticity where the masks you wear for the world become too heavy to carry. This ache is the divine instrument that scrapes away the false self, the accumulated grime of who you thought you were supposed to be, to reveal the luminous truth of who you have always been. It functions as your most reliable compass in a world that offers 1,000 different paths to temporary satisfaction, wealth, fame, pleasure. This ache remains, quietly pointing you toward the one thing that can truly satisfy, the direct experience of the God within. When you make a choice that aligns with your lower nature, the ache intensifies, a gentle but firm pressure guiding you back to your true north. When you make a choice that honors your spirit, the ache subsides, replaced by a profound and lasting peace. It is the teacher who never sleeps, the guru who is always with you. It asks you the most important question you will ever answer. Will you continue to seek outside yourself for what can only be found within? Will you drink from the shallow, muddy puddles of external validation, or will you dare to dig the well of your own consciousness until you strike the infinite spring? This H is the thirst that leads you to the water of life. It is the signature that authenticates your journey, the undeniable proof that you are not a random collection of atoms, but a deliberate, chosen emanation of the divine, here on a sacred mission to remember and to embody your source. This understanding shifts everything. It reframes the entire journey from a search for personal elevation to a solemn acceptance of a sacred trust. You were not chosen for glory. You were chosen for responsibility. This is the pivotal turn in the consciousness of the seeker. The moment the spiritual quest matures from a desire to get to a commitment to Zutter's give, the divine signature of ache is not a personal gift for your enjoyment. It is a tool calibrated specifically for you to be placed in service of the whole. You are the sensitive instrument because the world needs something more sensitive to register its pain and to channel its healing. You feel the dissonance so acutely, not for your own discomfort, but so that you may learn to become a source of pure harmony for others. This is the great paradox of the path. The more deeply you feel your own separation, the more capable you become of facilitating union for others. This responsibility is not a burden in the worldly sense. It is not a duty imposed from without, but a calling answered from within. It is the flower's responsibility to open to the sun, not as a chore, but as the very expression of its nature. Your responsibility is to become a clear, unobstructed channel for the divine. Your life is not your own. It is a vessel, a conduit through which a higher consciousness seeks to express itself in the world of form. Your thoughts, your words, your actions are no longer merely personal. They become points of transmission. When you choose love over fear, you are not just making a personal choice, you are anchoring the frequency of love in the collective consciousness. When you choose peace in the midst of chaos, you are not just calming your own mind, you are establishing a beachhead of peace for all of humanity. You are a spiritual first responder, and your sensitivity is your emergency radio tuned to the frequency of human suffering and divine solution. This is why the path demands purification. The ego must be subdued not because it is evil, but because it is a clog in the pipe. Its personal desires, its attachments, its fears all create static that distorts the clear signal trying to flow through you. The work, then, is to become silent, to become empty, to make of yourself a hollow reed through which the music of the divine can be played. Your responsibility is to get your little self, your personal story, your conditioned reactions out of the way. You are chosen to be a representative of a different kingdom, an ambassador of a reality not based on lack and competition, but on abundance and unity. Your every moment becomes an opportunity to fulfill this trust. How you speak to the cashier, how you handle a frustration, how you spend your energy. These are not trivial matters. They are the practice ground where you learn to let a power greater than your own operate through you. You are being prepared to hold a light, not for your own path, but to illuminate the path for those who walk in a darkness so profound they have forgotten that light even exists. This responsibility, this sacred trust, finds its focal point in a moment of divine appointment. The date, November 6, is not merely a temporal marker on a calendar of the world. It is a spiritual coordinate, a doorway. In the metaphysical landscape, time is not a linear procession of empty moments, but a field of varying qualities and potentials. There are moments when the veil between the worlds grows thin, when the spiritual currents that underpin our reality surge to their peak, creating a portal of unprecedented access to higher consciousness. November 6 represents such a convergence. It is a date stamped with a specific energetic signature, a cosmic alignment that offers a unique opportunity for the chosen ones to step out of the cycle of seeking and into the state of being. To misunderstand this as a simple date is to mistake a cathedral for a pile of stones. A doorway is a place of transition, a threshold between one state and another. It is not the destination itself, but the point of passage into it. This is the nature of November 6. It is the threshold between the life you have known, with all its spiritual longing and sacred ache, and the life you are destined to claim, a life of embodied truth and conscious co-creation. To stand before a doorway requires a decision. One can admire it from a distance, one can speculate about what lies beyond, or one can gather one's courage and step across. This date is that gathering point. The energy of this day is not a passive force that will simply happen to you. It is an active catalytic power that responds to your intention. It will meet you at the exact level of your willingness to be met. It is a mirror reflecting back the authenticity of your readiness. This is why the preparation is so vital. You do not arrive at a doorway of this magnitude encumbered by the same baggage you have always carried. The weeks and days leading to this point are a sacred process of purification, of releasing the final layers of the old identity that cannot cross this threshold. The fears, the attachments, the small stories of the ego, these are the weights that must be laid down. The doorway itself is pure potential, but it is narrow. Only your essential, authentic self can pass through. The world may see this date and assign it its own meanings, its own dramas and fears. But you, the chosen one, are called to see with different eyes. You are called to perceive the spiritual architecture hidden within the temporal, to recognize this day for what it truly is, a divinely orchestrated opportunity to make the ultimate transition from being a student of the path to becoming a living expression of the goal. It is the moment the cocoon becomes obsolete, not through force, but because the butterfly can no longer be contained within it, of course. Here is the expansion of Keynote No. 5, continuing the flow from the previous thought. And so we arrive at the practical application, the sacred mechanics of how we step through that doorway. This is not a passive waiting. A doorway does not open for one who stands at a distance, merely admiring its frame. One must approach it, must reach out a hand, must make the conscious choice to cross the threshold. This is the meaning of alignment through conscious action. It is the deliberate, willful participation of your human self in the divine plan that is unfolding. The universe has set the date November 6 as a point of profound energetic potential, a cosmic convergence. But you must bring your own vessel to the well. You must consciously choose to align your thoughts, your energy, and your intentions with the frequency of that day. This is how the abstract becomes actual. This is how a spiritual truth becomes a lived reality. Conscious action begins with the stewardship of your attention. Where you place your focus is where you direct your power. To align with November 6 is to consciously withdraw your energy from the circus of fear, from the narratives of lack and limitation, and to deliberately place it upon the reality of the spiritual kingdom. This is a moment-by-moment practice. It is the action of noticing when you have become entangled in anxiety about the future or regret about the past, and gently but firmly returning your awareness to the present moment, to the truth of your being as a chosen instrument of the divine. This is not avoidance. It is the highest form of engagement. You are choosing to engage with a higher reality. Every time you choose a loving thought over a fearful one, you are taking a conscious action of alignment. Every time you choose stillness over reactivity, you are polishing your vessel. Further, this alignment is expressed through symbolic acts of faith. These are the physical rituals that anchor the spiritual intention into the world of form. The act of writing down the number 11-6, of speaking it aloud, of sharing it in a comment. These are not empty gestures. They are powerful declarations to your own soul and to the universe that you are a willing participant. You are raising your hand and saying, I am here. I am ready. I am aligned. These actions create a resonant field around you, a magnetic pull that draws the experience of the doorway closer to you. It is like tuning a radio dial. The station is already broadcasting, but you must adjust your receiver to hear the signal clearly. Your conscious actions are the tuning of your being. You are adjusting the dial of your consciousness to the frequency of November 6, ensuring that when the broadcast strengthens, your receiver is ready to interpret its message without static. This is an active co-creation with the divine. You are not a passenger on this journey. You are the navigator using the compass of your spirit to steer your life toward this rendezvous with destiny. Your willingness to act, to move, to declare your intent is the final essential ingredient that transforms a theoretical possibility into a tangible life altering event. And so, what lies on the other side of that threshold? It is not a new set of doctrines to believe, nor is it a final answer that ends the quest. It is something far more profound and living. Your awakening awaits, but it is crucial to understand that this is not a single event that happens to you, but a state of being that you consciously step into, a continuous unfolding. The doorway of November 6 is the birth canal into a new dimension of your own consciousness. What awaits is the full activation of the divine signature that has always ached within you. It is the moment the instrument is not merely tuned, but finally played by the musician. The sense of separation, the sacred loneliness that has been your constant companion, begins to dissolve, not because you have found something outside yourself, but because you have realized that the you that felt separate was merely a temporary construct, a focal point for the infinite to experience itself in a specific, chosen form. This awakening is the end of seeking because it is the discovery that you are and always have been the very thing you were seeking. The home you long for is the awareness that is reading these words. The love you craved is the presence that animates your breath. The peace that eluded you is the silent ground from which all your thoughts and feelings arise. To cross this threshold is to stop looking for the light and to consciously decide to be the light, not as a metaphor, but as a practical reality that informs every choice, every word, every silent thought. The responsibility you have accepted now becomes a natural expression, as effortless as a flower turning toward the sun. You no longer strive to be a channel. You realize you have never been anything else. The struggle to get out of the way simply falls away, and what remains is a clear, unobstructed flow of intelligence, love, and power that uses your unique human life as its point of expression in the world. This is a state of perpetual dawn. The darkness of ignorance does not vanish from the world, but it can no longer touch the core of your being, for you have become a source of your own illumination. The date, the preparation, the conscious alignment, all of it has been about preparing the vessel to hold this sustained frequency without shattering, without ego claiming it as a personal achievement. The awakening that awaits is your inheritance. It is the claiming of a kingship not over others, but over the inner kingdom of your own consciousness. It is the realization that you are a sovereign being, a conscious agent of the divine, here to enact a will that is simultaneously your deepest desire and the universe's highest purpose. The journey of the chosen one culminates in this simple, staggering truth. You are not a human being trying to have a spiritual experience. You are a spiritual being, fully awakened, choosing to have a human experience, and in that choice, transfiguring the very nature of the world around you.